Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Thin Ice, the best hockey podcast coming straight out of Arizona State. My name is Kyle Krikorian, and I'm alongside Baden Delaney and Sebastian Quinn. Boys, how are we doing tonight?
Doing pretty good, pretty good. Just excited to talk some hockey.
Can't complain. Yep.
Yep, we are on Zoom from home this episode because it's our winter break from school. Last episode, we were in the little edit bays at school, but now we're back home, so it'll be, hockey talk at home, which will be fun for the next couple of weeks. So, but before then, like, how's everything been with you guys? I mean, we're back at home finally after a hard semester.
It's been nice. I got to watch some hockey on ESPN Plus. It's not a perk I get at college, so got to keep
Oh,
up to date with things and just spend time with the family.
yeah, it's
I mean, I've been relaxing. Haven't been doing too much. A lot of my friends are still at school. We get out pretty early, but yeah, I've just been relaxing. Again, watching hockey.
We are pretty lucky to get out of school early. And, for those out there who haven't, made the investment with ESPN Plus or any NHL network for that matter, you should take that investment. Like, my entire life so far since being home from college is hockey every night. Like, I'll be flipping in between games. It's amazing. I didn't think it would be like something worth $100 for the year, but you spend a lot of time in front of the TV watching everything. So
Yeah.
I highly recommend, take some
I
serious.
have a NHL network on in the background right now, so if I'm peeking over, that's what it is.
Yeah, and I got the split screen for the Rangers Knights game right now, so it'll be fun. Well, we might get some live reactions.
Yeah, I'm watching a Rangers Vegas Golden Knights fight right now, and that's pretty entertaining.
Awesome. So to start off our show, we're gonna look at last episode. We kind of jumped around. We did NHL, then to college, and then back to NHL. So we're gonna start a little bit with college hockey. And like we said in the first episode, we cover everything hockey, not just Division I and NHL. So I want to talk a little bit about Division I women's ACHA hockey, which is the club hockey team. And I was given the privilege to call the game with Arizona State facing Liberty in Oceanside Arena in Tempe. And have you guys been to Oceanside?
I have not.
So
No,
a couple things. First of all, for a division last season and seasons before, the Division I team, the Division I men's team played there, which is an embarrassment. It's I think it's smaller than a community rink that you would see at home.
Really?
And it's smaller, like compared to Mullet, it's tiny. And I don't know what it is in there. It's not something like they keep it so cold in there. Like, obviously, rinks are supposed to be cold, but I shouldn't have to be wearing thermals from head to toe and double socks.
Oh,
So,
that's overboard.
it's overboard. It is. And even then it doesn't do the justice. So when I was doing the radio broadcast for this game, I had to hold a microphone because we didn't have headsets, right? So I'm holding the microphone, and with that being super cold in there, my arm was starting to cramp up. So I couldn't fully extend my arm for basically the rest of the night because it froze.
Wow.
So anyway, enough of me complaining. So Arizona State, they hosted Liberty University, and Liberty, which is crazy. Liberty since 2018 has a record of 123, 5-3. They have going into that game, they had a 54-game winning streak going back to their 2020 season. And they have won the national championship for ACHA Division I hockey for 4 seasons in a row. So all the time they're at the top. And it was quite embarrassing. The first game, initially, it started off, it was 2-0 Liberty on top. And it was like, okay, ASU still has maybe a chance, but Liberty outshot ASU 21-0 in the first period.
See, you're not going to win hockey games if you play like that.
By the end of the game, Liberty had outshot Arizona State 51-20, and this final score was 10-2. And there was a hat trick, and then there was two. I think, if I'm correct, I can't find who on this. The ACHA website is so all over the place. I can't find the proper stats, but there was one hat trick from Liberty, and then there was 2 other hat tricks waiting to happen, right? Because they scored 4 times in the second period, and ASU not getting on the board until the third, and then Liberty scoring twice again in the third period as well. So this Liberty team was basically Arizona State made Liberty look like a Division I team.
That's great. That's wild.
They came in there and they're playing faster, more aggressive. They're shooting a puck. Arizona State did not look like they're ready to play, and the penalties were also like the special teams. It was terrible. It was all Arizona State, and when they would get when they got the power play opportunity, there was 2 shorthanded goals by Liberty. So it was like, okay, that was a fluke game. Second game they go in, another Arizona State loses again, 8-2. Liberty outshoots ASU 59-19 by the end of the game. And the same story. I mean, ASU can't, perform on the power play. They can't. Their special teams has been horrible. Not basically all season. Their penalty kill has been keeping them within games.
But it shouldn't have to come to that.
If Arizona State if they're down, like as I've seen, when they're down more than 1 points, it's over. If they can't keep it within a 1-score game, they're not going to be able to win. So, watching that game and calling it too is terrible. Liberty goal, and then another Liberty goal, and then it's just got to a point. It's like, oh, okay, so it's going to be one of these games.
I mean, I think we should take a second to realize just how absurd 5 losses in the last 4 years is. Like
that. That's another one.
They probably do the most insane job recruiting and just get the best players. So I mean, you'd want ASU to put up more of a fight, but looking at that record and over the last 4 years, 50 streak, 56, whatever it is, it's like that's not an easy game for ASU.
Yeah, no, and it's not even that ASU is a bad team. It's just I don't know why and I was looking into it. I don't necessarily understand the requirements for an ACHA team to become NCAA Division I, because that's what happened to the men's team, right? If I'm correct, right? That they were Division.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure a couple years ago.
Yeah, so because 2015 was their first season Division I. I don't know for sure how they were able to. It was like 100% established for them to be Division I. You got to move Liberty to division. They got to go NCAA. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And 11 of the 23 players on that roster are underclassmen. So expect another 4 championships in a row. And yeah, I just had to bring that up because that was definitely one of the highlights of my weekend considering college hockey. Just watching that, it was a totally different game.
Yeah.
I've almost never seen a game like that, maybe except Kraken at Kings, but Kings maybe put up more of a fight. But that was a while ago. I don't want to talk about that. I had mixed emotions after that. But anyway, looking at Division I men's hockey, ASU traveled to Denver, which it wasn't a must-win necessarily for one of those games because it is number 1 Denver, but they definitely had to look good and hopefully scrap one of them out. Which in the first game, they should have won that game. I don't know if you saw the call that was called back. So it was 2-2 late in the third, and I'm trying to paint the picture perfectly. The puck is in the air, and Lovell is in front of Semptimphelter, and he's going to hit the puck down, or he's going up to catch the puck to obviously drop it. But then a guy from Denver comes and high sticks it and hits Lovell's hand into the glove. Now, so what people were saying is because it touched Lovell's glove, it was because of the glove, which is why the puck went in and scored. But then the other side is, his glove isn't going to shoot the puck into the net without the stick hitting it.
A high stick.
Originally, it was no goal. They called it a high stick. It's no goal. They looked at it and then they overturned it and made it a goal. You don't see that often.
I feel like that's not. Yeah.
If you call it a no goal, it's normally not going to be overturned. If anything, a goal will be overturned.
You need clear and distinct evidence to overturn some.
Yeah. Like what is it? Beyond a reasonable doubt. And I feel like a call like that. I mean, we haven't seen any precedent in professional hockey. It's probably happened a couple times, but not to the point where, I mean, my ASU hockey Twitter was blowing up for probably 3 hours straight, and the game ended maybe 30 minutes into that. So I mean, it goes to show you.
Yeah, and it sucks that I don't like to see games come down to that, especially ASU was really looking for a win, and based on how the game was playing, I think the game was going to go to overtime. They're going to come out with a win on that one. And then to just destroy them in game 2. I think it totally changed their demeanor. They're 100% thinking they were going to win that game. And then when you strip it away from them, they're not going to play as well. You know, they lost 5-2 in that second game.
Yeah.
And they started their second. They finally took Septemfelter out of the game for the first time this season and put Craw in. They called him Craw Daddy. So I thought that was funny. But it's I mean, I expected them to not do as well since it's Denver, it's number 1. But you know, with the upsets they've pulled off, it was hard to expect them to not pull off an upset. So
I do want to bring up a point though from that second game. There was another issue, I guess, with the reffing and a questionable call, which was, I believe it was the third Denver goal of the game that went in or whatever. ASU challenged the call, tried to contest it, and the rest were like, all right, they accepted it. There was reason for them to question if that was a valid goal. You know, they go over to the board, they go over to check everything, and they come back and they go, oh, our review equipment is malfunctioning. We cannot review it, so the goal's going to stand. And my big thing is, how is that allowed? Like, how is there still a place for that error within a sport at this level?
Yeah, and at this stage, that's kind of inexcusable.
It is. It shouldn't. That should never have to be a thing. And I understand ASU was losing, and we didn't really look great up to that point. But I mean, regardless, I mean, we could still be losing 10-0, and I still like.
You got to keep the integrity of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
The game shouldn't come down to the little technical issues that the facility is having. It should be all about the players, and this is why people argue for robotic referees.
Yeah.
Which I by the way think is idiotic. I don't.
Yeah, I don't agree with it.
That takes away. You know, I'm gonna go back to the baseball argument. It takes away human error, but even then, it's like if we replace all refs with robotic refs, I don't even know how that would work.
I think the biggest thing though is the human error is fine if it is able to be corrected, but when the things that correct the human error don't work,
then
it's
exactly.
It's just terrible. But
and then everyone's gonna say, "Oh, it's the computers." That's what we all do, anyways. How many times have you told a professor or a teacher, "Google Classroom was down, I couldn't turn in the work"? To have a robotic ref is stupid, and then it's also gonna take out the aggression in the game because the moment you get maybe a hardly of a slash, they're gonna call it, and then it's just gonna be penalties all over the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
in this day and age, the technical thing should be pretty smooth sailing. There shouldn't be much like discrepancy between like reviewed plays.
Right.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. But yeah, so you know, ASU coming off of 2 losses, and we said it last episode, they couldn't come out with a win on this one, which we expected them not to. They have to win basically every single game in order to get into the tournament. And next series, they're going to be at New Hampshire. And I'm going to say it right now. If they can't get at least 1 win, it's over for them.
It's over. The season's done.
Yeah. And not even because I'm saying, you know, New Hampshire is amazing. You know, ASU has faced much tougher opponents throughout the season. It's because, you know, they're going to look, the league's going to look at the games you've played, where you've played them. They're going to see, okay, you're 6-1 at home, but you're 1-8 on the road.
Yeah.
Why are we going to send you to Tampa to play these high profile teams if you haven't shown you can beat Bemidji State at their home? So it's just going to come up to this point, like especially for road games, you need to win. And I'm sure that's what's going through their minds right now, especially after getting swept by Denver. So, and then I think, so they play New Hampshire, and then they play Boston College, which at home, which will probably be both 2 wins again because it's at home. And then they have the Desert Hockey Classic, which is also kind of interesting. I was just reading up about it. They host the Desert Hockey Classic. They've been hosting it since 2015 and haven't won it.
No.
It was Michigan Tech that won the first one. And then Clarkson won the second one. And then for 2 seasons, it was on hiatus because of, I think, COVID issues. So now it's going to be at Mullet this year because originally it was in Glendale and then it was in Prescott. So now it's going to be in Mullet. And again, you know, if the NCAA tournament was in Mullet, you might as well declare ASU the champions because they don't lose at home. So home games are important, obviously, but think it's going to be much more important for them to get wins on the road, especially considering they only have, I think I'm looking here, 4 more road games, not including the ones at New Hampshire. And these 4 road games that they have, it's going to be at Alaska for both Alaskas, Alaska Fairbanks and Alaska Anchorage, which they wiped Alaska Anchorage.
Yeah.
I don't think Alaska Fairbanks puts up any more of a challenge. And if you can't win those games,
you're not meant for the tournament.
Exactly. You just got to stay consistent, and we've kind of struggled showing consistency. But that's basically what the committee is going to look at when they're trying to figure out who gets to go play down in Tampa. And I don't know. It's like you said, if we drop, I even want to say, like, if we drop one game, it's going to be really hard for them to look at ASU and go, oh, let's put them in, because the only driving factor behind that would be just to grow hockey in Arizona. But I mean, I don't think the committee really cares.
Yeah, and I think I think the team has done enough. Not enough. They've done a lot already, higher than more than the expectation was to grow hockey in Arizona. So they might say, like, well, you've already beaten North Dakota and Minnesota at home. You've done enough to grow hockey this year.
Yeah.
See you later. Like, you can't bank on them to make that marketing decision, like I mentioned. And that was in my head because I thought they were going to pull one off against Denver, and they didn't. So, I mean, that's all I have for college hockey. I mean,
if they had split one with Denver, then the committee would have saw they split with number 2 team in the country, Minnesota. They split with the number 1 team, and I think at that point it's hard to keep ASU out because you can see that they can compete with those teams. But now that it's 2 losses to Denver back to back, and then the second one being an ugly one, they're gonna have to really play well to end the season out.
Right, absolutely, especially because, like, if you get one against Denver and you don't have to worry about the other road games because you got one against Denver. But now you didn't get one against Denver. Now you got to win 4 road games, and you've only won 2 on the season.
So should we jump over to some NHL?
Yeah, let's do it. Straight over to the pros.
So we are recording this right now on Wednesday night, and tonight Tage Thompson of the Sabres had a 5-goal game, 4 of those in the first period, I believe, which is just crazy. I don't know if you guys have any specific thoughts on that, but
I wasn't even watching the game because I don't know what I was doing. I think I was out with some people, and my phone was kind of clicking around and blowing up. 5 goals in the first 2 periods. I think he had 4 in the first. Am I correct?
Yeah.
That's player of the year. I mean, on this show, we like to have a player of the week. We like to choose it on our own terms rather than the pros terms. 5 goals in 2 periods. It's going to be hard for, someone to overcome that. And that's just, it makes the Blue Jackets kind of look like, wow, like it was them against Tage Thompson at that point. And it's just fun to see. That's what I love about hockey. You'll get performances like that, and you can't do anything to stop it. Because that's what it is. That's why
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've seen a lot of high-scoring games. You mentioned the Kings Kraken game. There've been some games where it makes me wonder if there's a lack of defensive skill now, or maybe the offensive skill is on such a rise. But there's been a lot of high-scoring games. Even the Blues just put up 7 on my Islanders. So there's been some very high-scoring games, and it's fun to watch, but it makes you question the defense a little bit lately.
I think it's a big factor of this is because, especially the younger kids, you're watching players, like Connor McDavid, and especially with the kids, Trevor Zegras. And with these young kids, they can just go onto YouTube and watch whatever kind of move you want to do, how you want to shoot. And it's just, they have the access now to the internet. So, and there's tons of young players in the NHL, so they will slowly be able to transition into focusing more on offense because they want to make the plays. They want to make plays, and they don't. That's just how it is, because I'd say 58 minutes of hockey is the little fundamentals. And then, the young kids, the younger players, they're looking at 2 minutes of a game, which is what they want to do. And that's going to be the thing that what they feel like is going to be more impressive, which is why we're seeing more, high scoring games, which has been nuts. I mean, normally I'm used to seeing, 1, 2, 2, 3. We're saying 4, 5, 9-2. You know, it's all over
Yeah.
the place. And
That seems
that's how the
more and
game's
more
evolving
reoccurring.
now. I think that's just the involvement of the game.
So Sebastian, do we still have you? We might be having
Yeah, some
somewhat
technical difficulties.
somewhat of microphone
He-
difficulties.
Sebastian went to Best Buy and got this high-tech microphone. Oh, did we got him?
Do you have me?
Yeah,
Oh,
we did.
have you now?
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, we fixed this.
So any thoughts on that, Sebastian, before we get going? But yeah, I have random headphones, and Kyle's talking into his computer. Sebastian's got the nice mic, and he's the one cutting out.
Yeah. Oh, now we can't hear you.
No, we can't hear you again.
This is our way of telling you it's just gonna be me and Baden on the show. Okay.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
fine now. We'll tell you when you cut out.
All right.
So your thoughts, Sebastian, on the high scoring games?
Because I was talking about Tage, and I'm like trying to like lead Sebastian into it, and he's just sitting still. I'm like, bro, say something.
No, I wanted to jump in and just say, yeah, Tage Thompson looked like the best thing since sliced bread tonight. I mean, it was beautiful. I don't think I've noticed a player completely take over a game like he did. Coming into tonight, he averaged about 20 minutes per game. Excuse me. Okay, I'm good. 20 minutes per game on the ice, and tonight he only played 13. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, he
and
only
still
played
managed to do that.
tonight. Yeah, and he still managed to do that. So basically, he went out there, he completely dominated, like he was playing against a peewee team for about a period and maybe a quarter, and then decided to go, all right, I'm done, and just sat on the bench and laughed. And there was nothing that Columbus could do. And I think the worst thing on top of it is if anybody on here like follows Blue Jackets Twitter, they were posting like celebration graphics and like memes when they scored their first goal of the night, like they weren't losing like 7-1. And I mean, it was ridiculous. I don't agree with that, but I mean, to each their own.
Yeah, it's hard, and that's the thing I worry about. I worry that at one point, you know, because I for sure don't know what I'll end up in the next 4 years. I really don't hope I end up on the social media team and have to tweet out a goal when like whatever team I'm working for is down, you know, 9-0, like the Blue Jackets were tonight, you know, or I like, what's the point? Like, you have to because it's your job, but you know you look foolish doing that. Like, wow, look, like whatever they said. One of the I saw a meme. It was like Ratty Patty or something, or Ratty Party. I don't even remember. I saw a glimpse of it. I wish I saved it, but it's just, what can you do? You have probably the best player tonight. It's just.
So moving on, we have the possibility of an already great Devils team acquiring Patrick Kane. And I'm wondering if this is going to mess up some of their chemistry if this deal ends up going through, or it's only going to put them over the top. But that's an interesting possibility, Patrick Kane to the Devils.
Yeah, I know we talked about him possibly ending up on the Rangers in our last podcast, but yeah, now talking about the Devils side of things, when that report came out, it kind of caught me off guard because, I mean, while adding talent is a good thing and veteran leadership is a good thing, and I mean, I guess they do have the money to do it. They only gave out those big contracts to Plot and Hamilton, and that's worked out very well for them. So I guess their thought process is, let's do that again, but through a trade. The only question I have is, it like you brought up, is that going to impact their chemistry? And if I was in that front office, I don't think I'd follow through with it. I know you need talent to win, but when you have the best team in hockey besides, I guess, Boston, it's kind of hard to mess that up. Like, where do you put him in? You're going to go into one of these lines that are just producing and go, all right, guys, we're switching it up a quarter into the season, and you're going to see like
that's the thing. That's the thing with hockey. You kind of set lines where guys are so used to playing with each other. So in theory, it seems great and sounds great to put Patrick Kane, a veteran, with all these young players, and he's had playoff experience and he's won a cup. But I think it's difficult to just plug a player into hockey when there's so much chemistry between the lines that's already like established.
Yeah, and that's the whole backbone of the Devils, is them being a young team playing so well so early in all their careers, and you're gonna plug in because Patrick Kane's, I think, 30, pushing 34th. I think he might be 32. He's not old, but he's an older guy.
He's older guy.
And it's nice to have veteran leadership, sure, but not at this point in the season. I don't think bringing him to the Devils, I don't think it'll help them. I don't think it'll hurt them either, only because he's not gonna see as much. I don't think he'll see as much playing time as he has seen in the past. Only considering like you said, there's chemistry on the Devils already, and you're gonna plug him in, brand new player, an older player with probably a different playing style. It's not gonna it's not gonna sit. It's not that it's not gonna sit well with the Devils. It's not gonna mix well. And I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have a guy out there kind of teaching the young guys what to do, but the young guys know what they're doing. They're the best team in hockey.
It's not like
hockey right now.
yeah, and it's not like exactly. It's not like this is a team that's on the cuff of the playoffs who needs to be put over the top. Like what they have right now is working, and then some. So I don't see any reason to really mess it up or mix anyone in that's not been there all year.
Yeah, I think this is just something that we'll probably readdress closer to the deadline. I mean, that's when it makes sense to make this move. If the team starts to struggle a little bit, and I mean, you get into that, then you make the move and you try to fix some things. But as of right now, a team that's still in the lower single digits of losses, this is not a move that I support.
And talking about playoff pushes and Stanley Cups, the Avalanche, last year's winners, their star player is now out for 4 weeks, and that seemed to be very clear today after a 4-0 loss to the Bruins. And we know how great the Bruins are, but it was pretty evident that they had lost their best player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
go on.
I was gonna say people were arguing earlier in the season, like, is Cale Makar the reason for all their success? And they're trying to name everybody on the team but Nathan MacKinnon.
He's the best player. It's
Yeah. I mean, I saw a tweet that I was gonna ask you guys about. It said out of these three players, besides them, it said anybody named Cale, Connor, or Austin, who would you start a franchise with? And in my mind, I thought that was extremely disrespectful to the man named Nathan, because it's like, what else does he have to do? Like, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, from highlight reel plays to how he like kind of leads his team, it's hard to not include him in that discussion.
Exactly.
It's definitely a bullet wound for the Avs, and I still thought the Avs were definitely going to make a good push for the playoffs and definitely the cup, but now it's hard. Now it's definitely hard, and I know the Bruins are really good. 4-0. I mean, like we said, there's a lot of offense, and you don't have your star player. You're gonna have to fix some things. I think the Avs won't be as bad as what everyone's exaggerating them to be because of MacKinnon being out. I'm sure they'll figure it out with they'll make a line adjustment, but it's not gonna be the same. And then when he comes back, you have to readjust everything again. Not gonna be the same again. So it's a big bullet wound for the Avs.
It is.
Yeah.
And I know we go ahead, Kyle.
No, I was gonna introduce the next point, but I think you're about.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Go ahead.
every single show or every time you hear from us, we're gonna end up saying the name Connor McDavid, and that might get boring for some viewers. But this man, 50 points, and it's only took him 27 games. He's the first player in the league. So, and that's after 2 goals and 2 assists tonight. So it's crazy to watch him, and we might say his name a lot, but it's all worth it.
Yeah.
And like you just said, how we want to bring up a player every week, and we're going to keep saying it's going to be Connor McDavid basically every other week. We might as well just name it the Connor McDavid of the week. And if it's Connor McDavid, it's Connor McDavid. And if it's not, we're comparing him to Connor McDavid.
Connor McDavid.
Until someone takes it from him, it's named after him. Until someone else.
Until it's the Baden Delaney of the week, it's going to remain Connor's award.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
when I push for my NHL career.
I think McDavid, what is he averaging points per game? I mean, 50 in 27 games.
He's over, I think, 2.6 now, which is absurd. It's close to the highest in his career. It's ridiculous. I think he's at 56 now, which is absurd. We haven't seen anything like him. I know this is like the big thing. We haven't seen anything like him since Gretzky, but it's true. And I don't even think we've seen anything like him before Gretzky. I don't know. I don't know
where
just
pure skill.
Exactly. It's absurd.
Yeah, and he's a younger guy too. It's just we're gonna see a lot of Connor McDavid in the next I'd say 8-9 years. this guy's going to be all over the place. And the one thing I hope for, it's not going to end up, because I don't think he's won a cup yet, huh?
No, and I
No.
don't know if he will, but we'll hopefully.
I mean, it's a trade-off. You could be the greatest player in hockey and not ever win a cup, or kind of be washed in with another team and win a cup. I love to see him win, but at the same time, I'm sure he'd be just as fine putting up 50 points in 27 games, and the next season is going to be 25 games, and then on and on and on. So
I just wanted to, I want to touch on that. I like that we mentioned who's going to take that spot from him, and I think that it might have something to do with Connors, who are also Canadians, and tear up when they're young. Because we were talking about this earlier in the week off the broadcast, so now we're going to talk about it here really, really briefly. Connor Bedard is the next GOAT prospect. Like, he's going to be clear number one. He's got exceptional status, all this stuff. The kid's only 17 years old. He runs first line for the Canadian national team, all the things. And this past season, he had 26 goals, or the season's still going on, actually. 26 goals, 59 points, and that's in 27 games played. And the kid is 17, playing with kids that are 2, 3 years, 4 years older than him. And in my mind, that's just all right, what?
Yeah. Like, what can you do? And the game is changing. We're seeing these crazy offensive masterminds coming onto the ice. And eventually, funny thing is, I think in the next couple of years, we're going to be like, oh, you average 2 goals a game, like 4 points a game.
Cool.
Cool, dude. Like, do something that's the great part about, I say, all sports, is like we slowly see, it evolve. And this is where we're seeing it evolve. Everyone wants to score now. I still think, the goalie is the most important player on the ice, but it doesn't matter if your team's putting up five goals in the first place.
Yeah.
So yeah. Right. Okay. And then I think we wanted to. There was a couple other things I wanted to bring up. The Kings, I think, finally have found their goalie. I really liked what I saw from Phoenix Copley last night. It was his first win since 2019, when in the 2019 season he played with the Caps. And I mean, it was against Ottawa, and Ottawa is, I think, like a third worst team in the league right now.
Yeah.
But for it being his first start with a brand new team that he's never played with before, and it being his first win, I'd say he made some pretty good shots. He let 2 go out of the 33. And honestly, I really think he might be the answer to the Kings' goalie woes. I mean, we saw it with Cal Peterson, and they booted him to the Ontario Reign after the Kraken incident. I call it an incident because that was embarrassing.
That was an incident. That was more of a massacre.
It was, it's not, that was last week. We're focusing on this week. So,
you still have nightmares about it.
Yeah, I do. It's just, it's hard to I want to have faith in Quick, because he was the guy. And sometimes I still think he's the guy, but it's time to move on. And I really think Phoenix Copley's the guy. It's going to take some time. I'm hoping that he'll be starting against the Maple Leafs tomorrow night, which will help them win for sure. But I just wanted to bring that up because I was really excited watching him play. He made some great saves. Yeah. And then I tweeted this for engagement, but I know it doesn't mean anything. So the Knights beat the Bruins in a shootout, I think, on Monday night, which is the 5th. And I know in my mind, I don't think shootout, obviously shootout means something because the team wins.
Yeah.
But I don't think it really shows what team is better.
I agree with that. I mean, obviously it shows what team is better in the moment, but overall,
yeah,
no.
I don't think. I tweeted it in order to try to get engagement, which I didn't really get much, but I still tweeted it out anyways. I said, "Are the Knights the new favorite?" I don't think so. I still think the Bruins are very, very good, but that could be, I'd say, a cup matchup. I mean, once we get to the playoffs, everything changes. But
I mean, the way the Bruins look, we've been waiting for teams to kind of show that they can compete with them, and if the Knights can compete with them, then there's definitely some discussion on if that ends up being the cut matchup.
Yeah.
Then it's clear that the Knights are capable of beating them. I mean, at this point, we might just know that they're a better shootout team. I don't know if they're a better hockey team, but I mean,
There's only one way
it
to
gives
find
some
out.
competition.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's only
and
one way
the
to find
shootout
out,
was
and we'll see them in the playoffs.
yeah, the shootout was fun though. I mean, as a fan, we love to see shootouts. I mean, that's the best part about. I think hockey has the best way of overtime rules. You know, I mean, you used to have college football where they was just play another quarter, and then you get soccer where they do the penalty their shootout, but the soccer shootouts are no fun to watch. The moment the goalie, jumps one way, the ball's it's I love how in hockey it's like, okay, 3-on-3 for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it's like after that, it's like, okay, you're gonna start all the way on the other side of the ice, and he's gonna come and the goalie's gonna sit in the net. And he's gonna fire right at you. I think that's the
Look,
best way. What's up?
they know what gets the views. Like when you're watching, you cannot watch hockey. You could dabble in watching hockey, and as soon as you see a shootout, you're gonna stop and watch for a little bit because the shootouts are so entertaining. So I think that little 5 minute 3-on-3 is kind of we'll see if a winner can be decided in this, but if not, we're just gonna kind of skip and get right to the entertaining part. It's a quick way to decide the winner, like the shootout is, and it's entertaining. So I'm a fan of it.
For the sake of it, like being a record, like, okay, who has more wins, who's better? I mean, yeah, that's perfect. But if you're trying to make like a rankings list or a power rankings, and those teams end up in a shootout, I wouldn't move them because at the end of the day, it's not a tie, but I see them, they play it up until a tie, and then since they have to have a winner, they do the shootout.
I mean, I have the Bruins over the Knights still, even after that.
Yeah, I mean,
I think so too. That's I just tweet. Sometimes I'll tweet out outlandish things about just not terrible sports takes, but things that would make people go, "What?"
Anyway. You're our resident Skip Bayless, and we appreciate you for that.
Yeah, I am. I will take that as a compliment. I will. Anyways,
all right. So we're
Sebastian,
gonna jump over.
You want to give our Connor of the week?
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll give our Connor of the week, and I think it's only appropriate that by changing the award name, the first one goes to Connor McDavid. Why, you may ask? Well, last week, from November 28th to December 3rd, Connor McDavid played 4 games. Right? 4 games. It's normal in a week against the Panthers, the Blackhawks, the Wild, and the Canadiens. So, pretty decent matchups. But this man, Connor McDavid, decided to contribute to his point total on the season. Finished the week with 11 points, 5 goals, 6 assists. I don't know who's going to stop this dude, and we just got into that, so we'll keep it brief with that. But yeah, it's the Connor Award for now.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to. I mean, it's going to be very unfortunate for everybody out there that doesn't like Connor McDavid, which
exactly.
Like, sorry, then what do you want us to do? He's the best player in the league right now, best athlete in the world. You can argue LeBron, Ronaldo. No, give them a pair of skates and throw them on the ice. Let's see what they can do, right? So
exactly.
I mean, I could a lot of Connor McDavid.
I could argue that if someone else did this, there'd be even more buzz around it. It's almost become normal for McDavid to just. Yeah, this is just a weekly occurrence. So if someone else were to do that, I think we'd be even more in an uproar. But just the fact that he does it every night, every week, every season, and he can do it for another 7-8 seasons. It's mind blowing.
We always notice how there's debate in every other sport about who the best guy is, but there's never that in the NHL. So with that being said, we're going to move on to our picks and predictions, where Baden is currently the best in our NHL, sitting at 5-4. I'm up next at 4-5, and Kyle's there in our hearts with 2-7 so far on the.
Yeah, it was the first. Okay,
so, only one way left to go.
It's not. So that was the first week. We're warming up to each other here, and you know what? I don't appreciate the idea that I'm not good at making picks here. Okay, I feel like I made quality picks. I gave my reasoning to why my team should have won. They didn't. I was wrong, and now I look foolish. So I'm not going to take that. So coming into this week, into these next games, I'm going 5-0, or however many games we have here.
All right.
Going under.
Look, I hope you redeem yourself. I think it's good.
Wonderful.
100%. We're going to come next week, and they're going to be like, you guys are going to be like, well, our leader, Kyle.
I hope so, Kyle. praying for you, man.
Yeah.
All right. So we're
let's
gonna
start
kick it
off.
off. We're gonna kick it off with the Predators versus the Lightning. The Lightning are coming off a very surprising loss to the Red Wings that nobody saw coming. The Lightning star power can only do so much. Depth has proven to be an issue for them. But I mean, on the Nashville side of things, it is a very impressive 3-game win streak. I mean, yeah, the Ducks at first, so maybe not that impressive, but then they just beat the arguably best team in the NHL and the Devils. And then right after that, they beat the Islanders, and that was after back-to-back postponements. So I mean, this team's kind of on a roll lately. And do I think that roll continues over the Lightning? No, because when you make superstars angry, they get angry and they play even better. So I'm going to go with the Lightning.
Yeah, that was I was kind of going with that, Sebastian. I don't want you to think the strategy is following you, okay? Because I think the Lightning is going to win. And this is why. Because I know everyone's going to say this, okay? Because I think you can make the argument that you probably know more than me in hockey, which I did say is true. I'm literally about to say Lightning. If I didn't say that I'm not copying you, we're going to hear from people like, you're just copying what Sebastian says. No, because you know what? The next pick, I'm going to pick first. But anyways.
That's fair.
It's going to be Lightning. It's a home game. They're angry. They're with a chip off their shoulder. Nashville, yeah, they're on an impressive win streak. It started with Anaheim. They pulled one off against the Devils. And yeah, they're a hot team. But I think, Lightning's going to be upset after losing to Detroit. And like you said, when you upset superstars, they want to win. So I'm going to give it to the Lightning.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice little story for the Predators. And you guys can all say I'm copying Kyle because obviously his picks are just far and beyond. But yeah, the Lightning
are up far and beyond.
They're a more talented team. The Predators, it's great and all, but the Lightning are not going to let themselves have two poor losses in a row.
That's fair.
So I'll take Tampa.
All right. So it seems like we got a 3-0 right there.
Before we move on, I just want to say, because on my other screen here, I have the Rangers Knights game on. I haven't been paying attention, and the Rangers are up 4-1. And I think I checked last time I looked at it 2 minutes ago, it was 1-1. I don't know what happened. I just think that's awesome.
We were talking about the offense now in hockey. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
so I'll definitely have to watch the highlights.
The Rangers need the wins because they haven't been winning.
All right. We don't need to get into that.
We're gonna next pick.
Yeah, we'll hop off. This will make Kyle happy. We're gonna talk about the Kings and Leafs. This is gonna be a very fun game for the Kings. I know Kyle's more than happy to see that Aaron. He's back. The man is back. After that terrible ACL tear, people were actually questioning if he was going to come back and be just as good as he was before. But he was, and he recorded a point last game. Very nice win. But that being said, let's talk about Toronto, because you have Austin Matthews, but he's not even the best player on his team right now, or the second best player on his team, which is outrageous for me to say, but it's true. You got the M to the fourth power. You got Mitch Marner, and you got Matt Murray. Starting with Mitch Marner, he's on a 20-game point streak, and that is the longest in the NHL. I believe it's the longest in Leafs history. So that's very good for him. And then even better, Matt Murray, who the Leafs got paid to take. They paid him to take this man. Is he the best goalie in the NHL? I mean, he might be. He just blanked the Stars and the NHL's old leading goal scorer prior to tonight. And I read a stat. So his 5.97 GSAX, if people don't know what that is, it's goal saves average, tracked on December 6th, is the best in NHL history. I'm not just saying that from perspective. I'm saying that it is the best recorded stat since that stat began to get tracked. And that is something that people have to understand. That is ridiculous.
In what span? Like the whole season?
Yes, so far.
So just like his games played.
It's the best ever tracked.
He was hurt to start the year. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
And now he's back and he's playing like Vizina man over here, but that's annoying because now the Leafs have a goalie and I can't be mean to them anymore.
So Kyle, you're the Kings fan. Well, you can pick first here. We'll give you the honors of hometown.
So my issue is with the Kings. I've searched far and wide on the internet. I don't know for sure who's going to be in between the pipes for the Kings. Now, whatever pick I made, the Rangers just scored again. It's 5-1. Sorry. If the the problem is I can't reverse my pick because I know if Quick is playing, Kings lost. That's it. Hopefully that the Kings start Copley, who he's on a winning streak. He's 1-1, right? I think I've also seen, the Kings are better on a road trip. I feel like they come together better. Their chemistry is a lot better. They are a relatively younger team, not the youngest in the NHL, but they do still thrive off of the veteran leadership from Doughty and Kopitar and Quick as well. So I think, when they go on the road, they're able to kind of like come together and play better. So I'm going to give it to the Kings. That's not bias, but I'm going to give it to the Kings in hope that Copley is in between the pipes. If he's not starting, I can't reverse the pick, but they're not going to win. But I really liked what I saw out of Copley, and I really think he's going to help the Kings I think he's going to help push the Kings into that second spot of the Pacific West, because they're not going to get there. Vegas is going to take number one spot, but I'm sure eventually they'll come up over on top of the Kraken. They got to start Copley. Why are you not going to start him after a 5-2 victory against Ottawa? Yeah, it was Ottawa, but it was his first game with a brand new team. 31 out of 33 saves. So they start Copley, they win, and that's all I got to say. This is a pick off of vibes. It's not a pick off of analytics or papers. It's a pick off of vibes. So Copley starts, Kings win. So I'm going with the Kings, and it's going to go overtime. It's going to go overtime.
All right, that's your bold pick.
A little double prediction there.
Double prediction. That means I get. So if it goes overtime, that means I get 2. Okay.
Hey, what about you?
Let's go.
I would love to follow up Kyle here, but I think just Marner, Matthews, Murray, all the M's. I think they're just the better team. And you like to pick upsets, and I think the Kings are a good team. And as Kyle has, I've lost trust in Quick very, very quickly. So I think Copley would, no pun intended, Copley would be the better option in net. But I do think with him still kind of figured out, I think the Leafs will win.
Yeah, I just want to, before I go to the next one, I misspoke before. I want to get into goals average here. GSAX is actually goals saved above expected. So I will get into GAA here, which is goals on average. And that being said, this is the Red Wings Panthers games, and goals on average is my point for the Panthers is their goalies are horrible. Bobrovsky, my bad. He's on pace for 3.84 goals on average. That would be the worst of his career. So what do you do if you're the Panthers? Oh, we'll go to our young prospect who's been very promising over the beginning of his NHL career, Spencer Knight. But in Tuesday's game, he got pulled. They pulled him right out. He let up 3 goals. It was not nice. And then you look at what are you supposed to do? And that's going to be their problem the whole season. They have the talent to produce offensively. They always have. It's just in that net, nobody can lock it down. And that's a problem, especially against the Red Wings, who have shown some promise in offense, especially in that game against the Lightning. They signed Kopp to be that guy in their center spot. And he's been controlling his line. He finished with 2 dishes, bringing the season total to 13 right now. So with that being said, I do think that Kopp will continue to distribute the puck. The Red Wings will continue to score, and they will do that against the Panthers, who I think are a very fraudulent team this year, because of that goalie problem. So I'm going to go with Detroit on this one. Very out-of-pocket pick for me, but I stand behind it.
Yeah, I like the Red Wings too, especially considering their win against Tampa earlier this week, or I guess yesterday, I should say. I mean, the goalies suck on both sides. It'll be a high-scoring game, like what we've said a couple of times already. And I mean, yeah, the Panthers, they have the same qualities. They scored 5 goals in each game against the Vancouver and Seattle, but and it's just I got to give it to Detroit. I like what we see out of Kopp, and that's all I got to say. I don't have much there.
Yeah, as much as I want to deter from your guys' picks, I just think that in the last couple of years, the Panthers have been a very good team, and the Red Wings have not. And this year, the Red Wings seem to have a little bit of a different vibe around them. Like you said, that Lightning win, they're a couple spots ahead of the Panthers. I think the Red Wings are the better team. I think that they're gonna win.
All right, sweet. So that's another 3-0 for the boys. Moving on to our second to last pick with the Jets and the Blues. So the Blues have been pretty inconsistent all year. They even showed that against the Islanders. I mean, they got that big 7-4 dub. Um, but because of that, they blew a 4-0 lead. The Islanders almost came back, and then they got 2 late goals. So I mean, that's an issue there. Also, Bennington has had extreme anger issues. The front office is upset. The coaching is upset. The team chemistry is upset. So it's what do you do with him? He's your guy, but do you keep him all year? Is that okay to have like a negative energy? He's been trying to fight other people. He's been throwing checks, and he's a goalie. I don't think I've seen that in a long time. And then on the Jets thing, they're on a 2-game win streak right now, and it's been pretty solid. They've looked very consistent. Kyle Connor's got 5 points over the last 2 games. So everything combined, I'm gonna probably go with the Jets. I think they're gonna push us to 3. And I think Bennington is gonna try to fight somebody again. It seems pretty clear.
Yeah, I mean, the Jets are coming off in the last 5. They've won 4, and in each of those games, they have scored at least 4 goals, with the Blue Jackets being their lowest scoring game with 4. And like you said, the Blues have been totally inconsistent this year. I mean, the only consistent thing about them is that they're 1-5 they're 1-4 in the last 5 games. They lost 4 in a row against Dallas, Carolina, Pittsburgh, and then the Rangers, and then beat the Islanders. But I mean, the Blues, there's nothing for them to. I don't know, like, what is their true issue. I mean, I definitely expected more out of the Blues this year, and
Yeah.
they've kind of been all over the place. I don't see they're not sitting in the playoff spot right now. They're 5-6 at home. It's gonna go to Winnipeg, and I think, especially considering their goals against average, it's St. Louis doesn't have a chance. Not a chance. They're not. They don't have a chance. I don't see them coming out on top.
They're consistent at being inconsistent. That's what we've
Yes.
determined.
I mean,
Hey,
the
what about you?
Jets are atop the Central right now. I mean, the Blues don't look great, but I think we go with the Blues. Just beat my Islanders 7-4. They didn't look amazing doing it, even though they scored 7 goals. But I will change this pattern. I'm going to go with the Blues. Keep it
There
quick.
you go. That's very good, very good. And we're gonna close it out with our last pick. Senator Stars, Jason Robertson. I mean, he's been the man of the year besides Tage Thompson tonight. He was the NHL leading goal scorer coming into tonight. He'll be second now, still with 23. Even though they got blanked against the Leafs, still a very high-powered offensive team. Rube Hintz, the whole gang is scoring and playing, and they're having fun. On the Senators side of things, DeBrincat and like Thomas Shabbat are like the only 2 people that can make Ottawa fans happy. You have them chanting at games whenever they see any celebrity, asking them for Ryan Reynolds to buy the team. I even saw a video of them chanting to Ryan Reynolds himself to buy the team. And they just lost 5-2 to the Kings on a Tuesday. So yeah, just you're not happy as a Senators fan. And I want Ryan Reynolds to sell the team, so that's why I'm picking Dallas, with the hope that they keep losing and my man steps in and saves the day.
Yeah, Ottawa hasn't looked good at all this season so far. I mean, they are better than some teams that are at the very bottom, but I would definitely consider Ottawa one of the worst teams in the league right now.
Yeah.
And you're going up against an offensive powerhouse with Jason Robertson, who's playing out of his mind, right? And I remember I liked that little storyline they did with him and his brother when they played Toronto last night, with the mom and dressing it. I don't know, just he's such a big headline this season, and the entire Dallas team in general. Ottawa's gonna have a tough time, and especially coming off of that big loss against the Kings. I don't see Ottawa scrapping away a win. Maybe they take it to overtime and they each get a point, but Dallas will still come up on top on that one.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned Sebastian just mentioned him. I mentioned him last time I got the new deal, but I think Hintz has been one of the more underrated players in the NHL. Like I've been very impressed with what he's been doing, especially with his passing ability. I think Pavelski, he's been in the league for a long time. He's still playing at a high level. And then Robertson, I think they're the more skilled team. I think they have more going for them. They're playing for the playoff spots. They got a lot to lose. And I think Ottawa's kind of they're not holding on to too much hope this season. So I'm gonna go with Dallas pretty shortly.
Ottawa, probably worst 10-win team in the league. Other than that, we're pretty consistent with our picks today. Shout out to the Blues. I even though I picked the Jets, that they might have a chance. But on that, I think we're pretty much done. So send it to Kyle to wrap it up.
Right. Thank you all for listening. Again, this was Thin Ice coming straight out of Arizona State. That's going to do it for our second episode ever. Follow us on Twitter at official Thin Ice and like and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you all next week. And we'll go over my picks again, where I will be on top of both of you.
All right. Thank you.
We'll see.
Thank you all for listening.
Later, everyone.